my mind goes completely blank. Does this sound exactly like you when trying to speak English? In this episode, we listen to a language learner struggling with this fear and discover practical, simple strategies to transform from silence to confidence. Watch to find out how you too can find your voice in English. Hey, Alex. Good to see you. How have things been going since we last chatted?
Hi, Michael. Good to see you too. Things are okay, thanks. Work is busy as usual. And, well, I'm still trying to make progress with my English, but it feels slow sometimes.
I know that feeling. Some weeks feel like a big jump, others feel like standing still. It's all part of the journey, I guess. How's the speaking practice specifically? I remember you were thinking about joining that online conversation group.
Yes, the conversation group. I did sign up for their mailing list, got the schedule and everything, but I haven't actually joined a live session yet.
Oh, really? Is the timing not working out for you? Or maybe the topics didn't seem interesting.
The timing is fine, actually. They have sessions at different times. And the topics look okay. To be completely honest, Michael, the main reason is I just feel incredibly shy. The thought of speaking English in front of strangers, even other learners, my mind just goes completely blank. I start worrying about every single mistake I might make.
Oh, Alex, believe me, I know exactly what you mean. When I first started trying to speak more, I felt the same way. My palms would get sweaty. My heart would race. It's a really common feeling for language learners. You are definitely not the only one experiencing this.
Is it? It feels like everyone else finds it easier. You always seem so comfortable and fluent in our practice sessions.
That's kind of you to say, but it definitely wasn't always like this. It took a lot of time and, honestly, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I realized that feeling shy, while natural, was really stopping me from improving. We have to speak to get better, right? And mistakes? They're not failures. They're just proof that we're trying. Shifting my perspective on mistakes was a huge step.
I understand that logically. I read articles saying, don't be afraid of mistakes. But when the moment comes, when someone asks me a question directly, I just freeze up. It's like all the English words I know suddenly disappear from my brain.
Okay, let's try to unpack that a bit. Can you pinpoint what exactly worries you the most in that moment? Is it one specific thing or a mix?
Let me think. It's probably a mix. I worry about making obvious grammar mistakes, like using the wrong tense or preposition. I worry about not knowing the right word and having awkward pauses. My pronunciation feels clumsy sometimes. And then there's the fear that people will judge me, think I'm not smart, or just not understand what I'm trying to say at all.
Okay, those are all very real and understandable concerns. Let's look at them one by one. Grammar mistakes. Everyone makes them. B1 learners, advanced learners, even native speakers slip up sometimes. The main goal, especially at B1, isn't perfect grammar in every sentence, it's communication. Did the other person get your main point? That's a win.
I suppose, but it still feels embarrassing when I know I made a mistake right after saying it.
It can feel that way, especially at first. But try flipping it. When you listen to other learners, are you meticulously analyzing their grammar? Or are you trying to understand their message and connect with them? Most likely the latter, right? People in learning environments are usually focused on communication and support, not judgment.
That's probably true. I don't usually focus on other people's mistakes.
Exactly. Now, vocabulary gaps and pauses. They happen. It's okay to pause and think. It's okay to say, how can I say this? Or, what's the word for? You can even use simpler words to explain what you mean. It's better than staying silent. Using circumlocution, describing the word you don't know, is actually a great communication skill.
Circumlocution, like explaining around the word? Okay, I could try that.
Definitely. And pronunciation. Clarity is the goal, not sounding like a native speaker from London or New York. Does your pronunciation prevent understanding? If not, you're doing fine. And like everything else, it improves the more you speak and listen. Maybe focus on 1 or 2 sounds you find difficult each week, rather than worrying about everything at once.
Okay, breaking it down seems less overwhelming. So, how did you personally start to overcome this? What were the practical steps you took?
Great question. It wasn't a single magic solution, but a combination of small, consistent actions. First, and this might sound silly, I started talking to myself in English, out loud, while making coffee, while walking. I'd describe what I was doing, or summarize a simple news story I read. Okay, now I am adding milk to my coffee. This coffee smells good. It felt strange initially, but it physically got my mouth and brain used to producing English sounds more automatically.
Talking to yourself? I guess nobody can judge you then. Maybe I could try that when I'm driving.
Perfect. Any private space works. Second, I found one reliable practice partner before jumping into groups. Someone I felt relatively comfortable with. We started with very short, low-pressure chats online, maybe just 10 minutes twice a week. It helped build my confidence in a safer space.
Just one person. That sounds manageable. Maybe my cousin who's also learning. We text in English sometimes, but rarely speak.
That's an excellent idea. Reach out to them. Third, when I eventually did join conversation groups or had to speak to new people, I did a little preparation. Not scripting everything, but thinking about 1 to 2 simple questions I could ask to start a conversation. Like, how was your weekend? Or, what do you think about this topic? Or, having a short anecdote ready about my day or hobbies. Having a small plan reduced the feeling of panic.
Like having a few conversation starters in your pocket.
Precisely. A little safety net. And the most crucial part, underpinning all of this, was actively working on my mindset. I consciously decided to stop chasing perfection and start aiming for connection and communication. I focus more on listening to understand the other person, which took the pressure off my own speaking. And I kept repeating that mantra to myself. It's okay to make mistakes. Speaking with mistakes is far better than not speaking at all.
Better to speak and make mistakes. I really need to drill that into my head. Did you still feel nervous sometimes, even after doing all these things?
Oh, absolutely. The shyness doesn't just vanish forever. It's more about learning to manage it, like turning down the volume on that nervous voice in your head. There are still situations where I feel nervous. Maybe a job interview in English, or speaking to a native speaker I admire. But the difference is, now I have strategies. I take a few slow, deep breaths before speaking. I remind myself of the preparation I did. I focus on the message, not just the words. And I remember that the feeling of nervousness usually fades after the first few minutes.
Deep breaths. Okay, and reminding yourself of preparation. That makes sense. What about those conversation groups you mentioned? What are they really like inside? Is it just chaos or is it structured?
The good ones are usually well structured. The one I joined often has a facilitator or moderator. Sometimes they split us into smaller breakout rooms with just 3 to 4 people, which is much less intimidating than a big group. They often provide a topic or some questions to discuss, so you're not just staring at each other silently. Everyone introduces themselves briefly, and people are generally very patient and encouraging because they are all learners too. It's more like a supportive workshop than a scary exam.
Smaller breakout rooms? That sounds better. Maybe I've been picturing it wrong, like being put on stage.
Try thinking of it less like a performance and more like practice, like going to the gym for your speaking muscles. You do some exercises, you feel a bit tired, but you know it's making you stronger. You wouldn't expect to lift the heaviest weight on your first day, right? Same with speaking.
Speaking muscles. I like that analogy. It takes the pressure off being perfect immediately. So maybe I should give the group a try? Or is that too big a step?
It depends on how you feel right now. If the group still feels too daunting, don't force it immediately. How about we start with what feels more achievable? We could schedule that practice call, just us. Maybe 20 to 25 minutes, once or twice a week? We can pick a simple topic beforehand. Hobbies, recent movies, food, anything. And just chat. No judgment. Just friendly practice.
Just us first. Yeah, that feels much more doable. I think I'd be much less anxious just talking to you. Yes, I'd really appreciate that, Michael. Thanks.
Fantastic. And who knows, after a few weeks of practicing together, the idea of the group might seem less scary. Or you might find other ways to practice that suit you better. The most important thing is to take that first step, however small it seems.
Okay, first step, practice calls with you. I can definitely commit to that. What kind of topics are good for B1 level practice?
Oh, loads! We could talk about daily routines, weekend plans, describing a place we know, talking about our favorite music or books, discussing simple news articles, planning a hypothetical trip. We can even find some B1 discussion questions online to guide us if we get stuck. Remember, the specific topic isn't the most critical part. It's the act of speaking, listening, and interacting in English.
Right, focus on the process, the communication, not just the perfect output. Got it. You know, Michael, just having this conversation, talking through the fears and the strategies, has actually made me feel significantly better and more hopeful.
I'm really glad to hear that, Alex. Sometimes just naming the fear and knowing you're not alone makes a huge difference. Remember, your English level is already good enough to have this whole conversation. You understand me perfectly, and I understand you. The confidence barrier is often more mental than linguistic, and it's a barrier you can definitely break through, step by step.
A mental barrier? Okay, I'll try to approach it like that. A challenge to overcome, not a reflection of my ability. Thanks so much for the practical tips, the encouragement, and especially for offering to practice with me. It means a lot.
Hey, anytime. We language learners have to stick together, right? How about we aim for our first practice call this Wednesday evening? Does that work for you?
Wednesday evening sounds perfect. I'll put it in my calendar, and I promise I'll try talking to myself in English before then.
Excellent. That's the spirit. You've totally got this, Alex. Just keep taking those small steps. Be patient with yourself, and you'll find your English voice.
Find my voice. I'm going to work on it. Thanks again, Michael.
My pleasure. Talk to you Wednesday. And remember, mistakes are essential for learning. Challenge. Try one small speaking step this week. Keep practicing. Keep improving. Subscribe to English Drill Zone for more B1 listening speaking practice.